باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. Dear friends, welcome to Idea Foundation Forum. Today we will discuss first issue of the topic The Qur'an and Modern Sciences, introduced in lecture 225. Title of the issue is Origin of the Universe, Scientific Explanation and the Qur'an. This topic relates to astrophysics. Astrophysics means a science that employs the methods and principles of physics and chemistry in the study of astronomical phenomena, astronomy and astrology. We will begin with interpretation of the scientific theory of creation of the universe, and in upcoming lectures, future lectures, we will point out its limitations and then present the Qur'anic view on the creation of universe as precursor of related modern thought. Dear friends, in the near past, there emerged almost a consensus, mind the words, almost a consensus among Stephen Hawking, Roger Penrose, and many other eminent contemporary physicists on the origin of the universe, that it initially started exploding from an infinitely hot and dense single object of infinitesimally small volume in the space, very, very small, insignificant, fraction of a millimeter. It happened in the space about 13.8 billion years ago. 13.8 billion years ago. This process was named the Big Bang by Fred Hoyle, an English cosmologist. Within a few earliest seconds, very few seconds, 2, 3, 4 seconds, the universe underwent an incredible, unbelievable growth spurt, explosion. As the universe expanded, its temperature cooled so rapidly that it caused the dust of particles called quarks, Q-U-A-R-K-S, quarks, form into protons, neutrons, and atomic nuclei, the building blocks of matter or anything classified as the creation. Thus, about 500 million years after the Big Bang, clumps of gas collided to form very first stars and sun and galaxies. The Big Bang cosmology had enjoyed great consensus for some time, yet it fell victim to criticism because of its weak or frivolous assumptions, which we will discuss in some upcoming lectures. So, dear friends, as the universe exploded violently out of an infinitely hot and dense single object of infinitesimally small size, very, very small size, its energy and light also have a unique single source and origin. As the cooling of temperatures caused the dust of particles form into protons and neutrons, their collisions gave birth to deuterium, an isotope of hydrogen. Deuterium is one of the gases, isotope of hydrogen. Millions of degree hot hydrogen atoms got compressed together to form helium atoms. This fusion getting together reaction caused to release energy. Thus, it became a perpetual source of energy and light of stars and the sun. Energy and light received from the sun makes the life possible on our planet. All living things on earth depend on electromagnetic radiation received from the sun. Transformation of solar energy into photosynthesis is the lifeline of plants. Practically all the fuels, such as gas, oil, and coal, are stored forms of solar energy caused by electromagnetic radiation millions of years ago. It's strange, amazing. Since the mid of last century, solar energy is also being converted into electricity by using photovoltaic and photothermal devices. But it is important to note, very important, it is important to note that everything created, everything whichever is created has an end. Kullu man alayha fan. The solar source of energy and light is also not infinite in nature. It is also limited and it will end one day. By converting mass to energy, the sun loses 4.3 billion kilogram of mass or 4 million metric tons a second, per second. At this rate of consumption, the sun would last 10 trillion years before it runs out of mass, energy and light. This is the age of the sun. Like the sun, every element of the universe has a finite term, very, very, limited term, life. For seeking the Qur'anic insight on the creation of solar system, predetermined movement of the sun and fixed term of its life and its being source of light and energy, a few Quranic references may be seen on the screen. So dear friends, Albert Einstein, you must have learned, you must have known. Albert Einstein gave a well-known theory of general relativity, which establishes relations between mass, energy, space and time. 4 things. He initially assumed a static universe. His view was that universe is static, not dynamic or growing, which was challenged. This concept of static universe was challenged by Edwin P. Hubble in 1929. It's a matter of just less than 1 century, by exploring that the galaxies are moving away from each other, causing perpetual expansion of the universe, and that too in considerable uniformity. Uniformity means equally distancing from north, south, east and west. It is just to understand. It was also found that the rate of gravitational pull of the universe set by its average density, which means the average density in the space declines as the universe expands. According to Hubble, expansion of the universe has had little influence on the size of galaxies or even clusters of galaxies that are bound by gravity. Thus, space is simply opening up between them. The distance between the galaxies is increasing. As far as internal distancing is concerned, that is not affected. To him, a galaxy emits or absorbs some wavelengths of light more strongly than others. If the galaxy is moving away from the Earth, these emissions and absorptions features are shifted to longer wavelengths. When the recession velocity increases, these wavelengths become more red. This phenomena was named the redshift. Please keep it in mind, this terminology, the redshift. It will be used time and again. Hubble's measurements indicated that the redshift of a distant galaxy, faraway galaxy, is greater than that of one closer to the Earth. In recent days, the assumptions on which Hubble's law was framed are under criticism by a section of astrophysics. If the Hubble's law loses potency, loses authenticity of its assumptions, it will no more remain a credible basis on which the notions of expanding universe, singularity at the creation of the universe, or the Big Bang have been built. All these will be smashed, all these will be questionable. All these phenomena will lose credibility and authenticity. Moreover, as we have discussed in some previous lectures as well, missing of the first cause in the Big Bang cosmology makes it unscientific, as science believes that each effect is tied to a definite cause. Nothing can happen without any cause. So, dear friends, Aristotle believed that all the matter in the universe was made up of four basic elements: earth, air, fire and water. And his philosophy was based on the divisibility of atom, that atom can be further divided. Whereas science, till the recent times, considering the atom as the ultimate indivisible phenomena of matter, found it the most elementary. Science found the atom as the most elementary building block of each and every constituent of the universe, including galaxies, stars, humans, living and non-living things. Science considered an atom as the ultimate, the smallest item in the universe. Contrary to the stance taken by science, the Qur'an revealed the concept of particle, atom, without limiting its divisibility. Qur'an, contrary to the science, was of the view that an atom can be divided and divided to the limit of infinity. However, in science, John Dalton, firstly found in 1803, again it's matter of yesterday, firstly found in 1803 a clue that an atom might contain a boiling pot of great energy within itself, which means it has something constituting itself. It has some internal structure. Einstein confirmed this fact in 1905 in his work named Brownian motion. Thomson, another astrophysicist, discovered a particle of matter called the electron, having a mass less than 1/1000th of the lightest atom. One smallest lightest atom divided by 1000, it is the size of an atom. It was in 1911 when Ernest Rutherford finally established that the atoms of matter have definite internal structures. It means atom has something internally. They are made up of an extremely tiny positively charged nucleus made of protons around which a number of electrons orbit, revolve. However, in 1932, James Chadwick discovered that the nucleus contained another particle other than proton and electron, that the nucleus contained another particle called the neutron. Proton, electron, now neutron, which had almost the same mass as a proton but not electrically charged. For about 30 years, protons and neutrons were considered elementary particles, the most tiny or the smallest particles. But subsequently, experiments found further small particles which were named quarks, Q-U-A-R-K-S, quarks by Murray Gell-Mann in 1960s. Though science today views that atom or protons or neutrons are further divisible, yet it is not sure of the ultimate elementary particles from which everything in the universe is made of. Quantum mechanics theory tells us that all particles are in fact waves, and that higher the energy of a particle, smaller the wavelength of the corresponding wave is. It means that higher energies may be found from smaller particles. If this stipulation could find a theoretical reasoning, very important, if this stipulation, this framework could find a theoretical reasoning, Stephen Hawking hopes of discovering knowledge of the ultimate building blocks of nature. So, dear friends, for the last few decades, theories of general relativity and quantum mechanics have been applied for defining the birth, configuration, and collapse of various constituents of the universe, starting from atom to the star. Stephen Hawking and such other eminent physicists have been believing that the Big Bang surged when the universe was infinitely small, dense, and hot. Since mathematics cannot handle infinite numbers, the general theory of relativity predicts that there is a point in the universe where the theory itself breaks down. This point is referred as singularity. Thus, the Big Bang is, alternatively called point of singularity. After a few moments of its outburst or inflation, as named in science, the universe started cooling, that created conditions for the formation of quarks and electrons, the building blocks of matter. Within the next few seconds, the quarks aggregated to form protons and neutrons, and within minutes these protons and neutrons combined into nuclei. Thus the continued cooling set the universe to expand. However, the rate of expansion decelerated. What is decelerated? It remained increasing but at a lower rate. The rate of expansion decelerated during the long later period but slightly improved subsequently as the cosmological model shown on the screen explains the expansionary history of the universe. It took about 400,000 years for electrons to set in orbits around the nuclei, forming the earlier atoms. These atoms were mainly helium and hydrogen that constituted the stars, including the sun, while heavier atoms such as carbon, oxygen, and iron were formed in the bigger stars and scattered across the universe as a result of stellar explosion known as supernova. It's one of the example is iron which landed on Earth. So dear friends, Hawking also predicted that infinite density may be a probable cause of black hole and anticipated cause of the big crunch of the universe one day, which means end of the universe culminating at singularity. As it started from singularity, it may end at singularity. He says this event as a big crunch. Roger Penrose used general relativity theory to prove that a collapsing star could result in a region of zero-sized and infinite density. As it started from zero, level, singularity, likewise it may end. Hawking and Penrose proved together that the universe should have arisen from a singularity. However, history of the origin of universe took a U-turn in 1970. Up to 1970, their belief was of singularity, starting from singularity and to singularity. But in 1970, there was a U-turn of their philosophy when Hawking himself disproved happening of the singularity once quantum effects, the theory of quantum effects were taken into account. He finally declared that Einstein's general theory of relativity is a classical, non-quantum theory which ignores the uncertainty principle of quantum mechanics and that it has to be reconciled with quantum theory in situations where gravity is very strong, such as black holes and the Big Bang. To him, general relativity, by predicting points of infinite density, predicts its own downfall. Just as classical non-quantum theory predicted its downfall by suggesting that atoms should collapse to infinite density. Thus, the two theories are not mutually compatible and describe workings of the universe partially. Thus, it raises the need to look for a complete, grand, unified theory that would describe everything in the universe. I think for the audience who are not aware of the physics or astrophysics, it is enough for them to understand that such eminent astrophysicists rejected this theory as the basis of Big Bang because they are not compatible. Right? How does uncertainty principle of quantum mechanics make the two theories incompatible? We will see now. So dear friends, just have a general view. Don't be worried about the details and in-depth mechanics of the theories. So dear friends, theories of grand relativity and quantum mechanics are not found compatible with each other on the issues of collapse of stars and galaxies and collapse of the atoms or protons. It means these two theories are not compatible in explaining the Big Bang on one side and the collapse of a proton or atom on the other side. In fact, I want to make it clear that even in such a modern times, after so much labor, so much scientific research, so far no theory can give the correct and undisputed reason of the origin of the universe. So this much keep in mind. Contrary to the possibility of collapse of a star falling victim to infinite density, such crunch is hardly conceivable in case of a proton due to uncertainty principle of quantum mechanics proposed by Werner Heisenberg, a German scientist, according to which the speed and position of a particle cannot be precisely known. Now try to understand that at the point of intense infinite density, star can collapse, but an atom can't collapse because of Pauli's exclusion principle. However, it was Pauli's exclusion principle that explained why half spin having half circle of its orbit. Pauli's exclusion principle that explained why half spin or matter particles do not collapse to a state of very high density under the influence of the forces produced by the particles of spin 0, 1 and 2. He explains. Now let me clarify one thing. Half spin particles are particles which are also called the matter particles, whereas particles of spin 0, 1 and 2, they are the force particles. Now let's try to understand what is the Pauli's exclusion principle. First are the particles of spin half. As I mentioned, they make up the matter in the universe. Half 1 by 2 particles having circle of 1.2 particle, they make up the matter in the universe. Contrary to the possibility of collapse of a star falling victim to infinite density, such crunch is hardly conceivable in case of proton due to uncertainty principle of quantum mechanics proposed by Werner Heisenberg, a German scientist, according to which the speed and position of a particle cannot be precisely known. Now keep it in mind. Try to understand why infinite density can cause collapse of a star, but it cannot cause collapse of an atom. It is because of Pauli's exclusion principle. Now we will try to understand what is Pauli's exclusion principle. It was Pauli's exclusion principle that explained why half spin or matter particles. Matter particles are also called half spin particles. Why half spin or matter particles do not collapse to a state of very high density under the influence of the forces produced by the particles of spin 0, 1 and 2. Understanding of the principle requires some detail. All the known particles in the universe are of two types. How many types? Two types. The whole, particles in the universe, they are of two types. First are the particles of spin half. What is half? 1 by 2. 1 divided by 2. It has semicircle when they don't have full circle. Particles of spin half which make up the matter in the universe. Whatsoever is matter available in the universe, that is made up of half spin particles. Am I clear? Second type of particles is of spin 0, 1 and 2, which cause force between the matter particles. Matter particles are half spin particles are matter particles, but the force which make them move, that is particles of spin 0, 1 and 2, which cause force between the matter particles. The matter particles of spin half pursue the Pauli's exclusion principle discovered by Wolfgang Pauli in 1925, which says, what he says, that two similar particles It is about half spin particles. That two similar particles cannot exist in the same state. It means they cannot have both the same position and same velocity. By virtue of exclusion principle, matter particles do not collapse to a state of very high density under the influence of the forces produced by the particles of spin 0, 1 and 2. If the matter particles, very important, interesting, if the matter particles having half spin have nearly the same position, they must have different velocity, which means that they will not stay in the same position for much long. With this, Stephen Hawking concludes in his book, A Brief History of Time, that had the world been created without the exclusion principle, neither the quarks would have ability to make well-defined protons and neutrons, nor with these together with electrons be able to form well-defined atoms, which means no universe would have been emerged. How important this exclusion principle is. Now you just imagine. Thus, point of singularity at the time of origin of the universe is scientifically flawed for not having the first cause, first deficiency. First deficiency in the theory of Big Bang and singularity is that they don't have the first cause. And likewise, a point of singularity can neither be anticipated for occurrence of the black hole, because that also is defined collapse of the atom under the intense or infinite density, nor for the collapse of universe or big crunch in view of Pauli's exclusion principle. Let me repeat this sentence. Thus, point of singularity at the time of origin of the universe is scientifically flawed for not having the first cause. And likewise, a point of singularity can neither be anticipated for occurrence of a black hole, nor for the collapse of the universe or big crunch in view of Pauli's exclusion principle. Basically, it is indication towards the incompatibility of the theory of quantum and relativity. It not only indicates mutual incompatibility of general relativity theory and quantum mechanics in explaining the origin and collapse of the universe, but it also suggests to find, as called by Hawking, a grand unified theory capable to describe everything in the universe together. Basically, Hawking after 1970s was of the opinion that these two theories are not enough to explain the happening of Big Bang or singularity. So, the basic point is that after so many labor, so many research, investigation, science is just at this moment is failed to find the cause of emergence or creation of the universe. With this, we conclude our discussion here. For reference purpose, it is lecture number 227. Please do subscribe Idea Foundation YouTube channel to watch videos of previous lectures. You may also visit website www.ideafoundation.com.pk to follow the list of lectures and introduction of the foundation. Thank you friends for participation. Allah Hafiz.